So this is multiplying and dividing rational expressions, and I picked a nice hard one to work through just so we could see everything happening at once. We didn't have to do too many examples, okay? So when you're multiplying these, it's just like fractions. If I have 1 over 2 times 3 over 4, multiply right across the top, 3 over 2 times 4, 8. Done. Okay? We're going to do the exact same thing here. Now, one thing I I can't emphasize this enough is how wrong it is to cancel out your x squareds here, okay? You can't start canceling anything until you have multiplication going on, okay? But until you have multiplication as your first step. Right now we have only addition and subtraction. You can't just cancel pieces out through addition and subtraction, right? If I have let's say I have 2 over 4 plus, or multiplying 6 over 8. No, I want to do this. I'll do 2 plus 6 over 4, right? I can't just do 2 over 4 and simplify that to 1 plus 6 over 2. I can't do that because what this ends up being is 7 over 2. But if we do this correctly, right, I add them first, 2 plus 6, it gives me 8 over 4. That's actually equal to 2. We know this is the correct answer, and this is just wrong. So when you cancel out x squared and x squared, that's also just wrong, okay? You need to factor this. You need to factor this. Your first step should be to factor it. Did I say enough times you need to factor it, okay? So, we're going to go ahead and do that. Our very first step is to factor everything. Now, if you're a little confused by factoring, there are other videos for you. Watch those first before you watch this one because I'm not going to take the time working on the factoring, okay? So, multiplying across, I just need to factor everything individually, piece by piece, okay? So this first thing, I see I have a GCF here. So I have 2 times x squared plus 2x plus 1, okay? And that simplifies, I know, to 2 times x plus 1, x plus 1. Okay, so I just factored that. Now down here, my 4x squared minus 36. Okay, I can see I can pull a 4 out of that, giving me x squared minus 9. Alright, and so that leaves me with 4 times x plus 3, x minus 3. I recognize that this is a difference of squares, so I can factor this, okay? It's so, your life is so much easier if you just commit it to memory, you get it down, okay? Now up here I see I have another difference of squares, so I have x squared, not x squared, x minus 1, x plus 1, okay? And down here, alright, I have a difference of cubes, okay? So cube root of that is x, keep the sign, cube root of 27, 3, and now my pattern. First term squared, opposite sign, first times last, and then plus the second term squared. Okay? So this is what I got going on here. So my goal is I'd like to be able to cancel some stuff out, right? And when I just multiply across, this is what I get. 2, x plus 1, x plus 1, x minus 1, x plus 1, over 4, x plus 3, x minus 3, x minus 3, x squared plus 3x plus 9. Okay? So, I didn't do anything. I just rewrote it because when I multiply, it's basically like just joining this bar right here. Okay? Now, the only thing I can cancel here is this 2 over 4. So that would go to 1 over 2. Okay? And just rewriting that more easily, it's just going to be a 2 in the bottom. Okay, that's the only thing that simplifies here. So this is really, really inconvenient for me. Okay, what I wish this was a division problem, because if this was a division problem, okay, if it said this instead, okay, then I start the exact same way. Factor everything. Well, great news. These are all the same pieces as before, so I'm just going to reuse my factors. So I already have 2 times x plus 1, x plus 1, 4, x plus 3, x minus 3. Okay, but now this I have to flip the other part, okay? And that comes from our reciprocal, which we saw with the complex fractions, okay? So I'm flipping this over. Okay, I know that this thing here is x minus 3 times x squared plus 3x plus 9. And this thing here is x minus 1, x plus 1. Okay, so I flipped it over, and now it's multiplication, okay? So I flipped it over, and we're back to multiplication. So now let's see if anything cancels out. All right, I see I have an x minus 3 canceling out there. I have an x minus 1. No, not x minus 1. The x plus 1 cancels. Okay, I have an x plus 1, x plus 1. Okay, and then I have my 2 and my 4. Leaving me with x plus 1, x squared plus 3x plus 9. And down here, this is a 2 now. And x plus 3, x minus 1. And boom! I've done it. So, if factoring is an issue, go watch the factoring videos, okay? No excuse at this point to not know your factoring, alright? So, unless it's your first time watching the video, in which case, I hope you learned factoring well. For my class, we should know factoring by now, alright? So anyway, there's your multiplication division. Not too complicated. You just got to break it down into baby steps, okay? Alright.